Welcome back to the Danielle Smith Series. This is the 7th episode and we get straight into it. Danielle Smith in Imaginationland Part 4. After an action-packed few days in Imaginationland, the last day had come for Danielle Smith, who had been there with her parents John and Linda. They had decided to take her on a trip around some of the areas she hadn't seen before. They first took her to the place where new characters appeared after being created. This was where she met some more of her own characters, and those were the Rock and Roll Mermaid, Solitaire Man, Fruity Saladman, Tiny the Giant, Biggie the Dwarf, Frank Rink the Ice Skater, Cola, Sprightly, Dr. Pepper and Pepsi Girl, the literal pop band, as they were anthropomorphic pop drinks. It was a very busy place as a hot dog racer came zooming past them. After a while, they took her to the 100-acre wood where she met a boy called Christopher Robin and his friends, Pooh Bear, Rabbit, Owl, Tigger, Piglet and Eeyore, who were playing. Then they took her to the magic forest where they kept her close, as some of the inhabitants were baddies. The moment they were spotted, a cloaked figure swooped down and took Danielle from her parents' side. This made them start running after the cloaked figure, yelling, "Give our little girl back, you baddie!" This alerted not just everyone else in the forest, but everyone else they'd met up to that point. This rescue party consisted of everyone on the good side of Imaginationland, including Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, the Lost Boys, Tarzan, Jane, Dorothy Gale, all of Danielle's creations, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, Perseus, Hercules, Caractacus Potts, Oliver Twist and all sorts of goodies from other books, shows and films. Leading the group along with John and Linda was James Bond, Gandalf the Grey, Merlin, Robin Hood and the Blue Fairy. They led the rescue party into the Darklands, where all the evil characters of Imaginationland lived and where poor Danielle was being held captive right now. Some good characters had already been sent after the cloaked figure as soon as the alert was sent out, and they were right where the rescue party needed to be. John and Linda were allowed to the front, as well were Danielle's parents. They all stormed the evil lair and started searching frantically for poor Danielle, who must have been scared out of her wits. They searched and searched until 4 of them found her in one of the cells under the lair, fighting off an orc guard in the form of a black belt karate fighter, having used her imagination to do so. Once she'd defeated the orc, she turned back to normal and walked out of the cell to find a rescue party there to help her escape and escort her back to safety. They returned her to John and Linda, who were thrilled to have her back, and thanked everyone for their help as they made it back to the safety of the royal palace, where all the princesses hugged her tightly, relieved she wasn't harmed in any way. After all that, it was time for the Smiths to return home to the real world. So they opened the portal home and stepped through it onto the platform of the imaginary world relocation machine in John's workshop.